How are you, Sudhi? How is your teaching career?
I'm good, sir.
Like
Teaching career is
no, not invisibly. You like.
yes,
I'll be a distraction.
teaching career is going well, sir.
Oh, beautiful. Would you like? Would you? Uh, what would you think about that? Will you make a different kind of an impression as a teacher, more than a teacher, as a guide to the students?
Yes, yes, sir.
Brilliant. That is your responsibility as a genius. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Every class, the subjects they may just mug it up for the examination. They will forget. But that they can develop it also later, all right? Subject knowledge. But what you give them as a 1 minute or 3 minute guideline about existence, about life, about future, that will remain. That will remain with him. We just decide to be bold enough to do that in every session, whenever there is a context. That's all. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. That's what all great teachers did, no doubt. I remember so-called government schools only were there at that time, when I was of that time. My mother herself, even now she is remembered. After, after 40 years of her retirement, even now the old people remember her with respect and wonder. And I know, not only she, many other teachers of that type. 2 minutes over. All right. Again, it is the parable of the one. That parable is a documentary written in words. That parable is a slice of life. Am I right, Navin? Yeah. It is your choice. It is your genius choice to look at it as a slice of a magnificent story of a person who really lived. That people are capable of. Almost even mugheads are capable of that. That's why Krishna and Rama and Jesus and Buddha are still alive. Nobody has seen them. But they believe ardently and they are ready to kill and fight for that. Then why not take our a brilliant guy, little boy, as a genuine representation of the potentiality being manifested by every human being, Vivek? Right? Yeah. That is what we call genius choice. Alright, if you take it as a series of situations, you understand situation? What is the meaning of situation? Perhaps Vivek must be answering that. I think a case is nothing but a report of situations. Am I right, Vivek?
Yes, sir. Basically, it is the description of the event that happened.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, and even this looking at it in totality, but that even comprised several situations. Okay. We are right now in a situation. You there, Naveen there, Sridevi, sorry, Sarabhavi is there, Aswati is there, Parvati is there, Arjun is there. But for your information, two other people are also there. But they are not in the computer. Can you say who are those two people? Can you guess who are those two people? Be careful, Vivek. Every word that you hear in the court from whatever people, every word has to be registered clearly. There lies your future success. Am I right? Yeah. No, okay. I don't find any, I am not blaming you or anything. Something I blame. When you are asked to guess, guess. What is preventing you from guess is that non-conscious or conscious doubt about your possible probable responses to a question of guessing. Okay? Don't undermine guessing. Most of the creative works, inventions, discoveries in philosophy or literature or poetry or music or dance all started with guessing only. Do you think a dance form started just like that, Odissi and ballet and all that one fine day? A film song happened in one fine morning? A film happened in that? Okay? How a film producer is, a so-called producer is spending crores and crores of rupees guessing that it may succeed. And they are all creative people. You also have to be. Genius is creative too. Okay? And you don't guess because you are all good boys and good girls. You will never make a mistake. Okay? Alright. Come on, situations. Okay, I will ask you another question. If you divide that parable into scenes, S-C-E-N-E-S, okay? Another word for situation. Every scene in a film is a situation. Alright. Where will you begin? Or seeing the situation of the parable, what are questions further? We talked about questions before, that's why I am not using the word questions. What all situations do you see there as an observer of the whole parable? What all situations you see and wonder about life? Situation, you begin, you say any situation, come on. Now what is the meaning of situation? Have you learned about the situational theory of leadership, Parvati? Situational theory of leadership, okay? A situation, he's just a guy around and the situation happens, there are 100 people, one of them comes and takes charge of what to do, what not to do and all those things. And then later he becomes known, whatever it is. So he's a situational leader. Nobody knew that he was able to organize all those things. That's called situational leadership, Vivek. Alright? Yeah, so I just give a clue to what is the situation. You don't see any situations in the parable? Not in the parable, you have to see the parable. Come on. At least identify one situation. Begin, Sarah, come on. This is, I wanted to conduct, my sessions are conducted like this only. That's why it starts at 9:30 in the morning and goes up to 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the night. I want you to think and respond, to which I will give the feedback and okay. I can do it here also, but then it will take 10 hours. Because this is the possible delay with the so-called educated mind sitting there, ready to make only the correct logic to identify what is so-called. We are not even able to guess, that's why I began with the guessing. What could be if you don't understand the question, you know the word situation, so you don't know the word situation, you don't know the meaning of the word situation. So why don't you make a guess and respond to me? I would not have pressurized you this much because you have only roughly 2 hours now, only about. If you take this much of time, then how will we proceed? Come on. You want me to say the situation and you are waiting there to say yes or no? I will not proceed. Come on.
In a particular place, at a particular place.
Yeah, of course.
Things that are happening at a particular place in a particular time.
Exactly. So things that are happening at a particular time in a particular space and location. And that dictionary does not include the totality. It's a time, space, location, detail, Vivek. Write it down in your journal, Vivek. When you get an affair, read it 100 times. And try to see what all situations are visible and invisible and hiding behind. That's why I am redefining the meaning of the word situation in whatever dictionary to include one more word called location. Time, space, location. Because that space is in a unique location. Get the point, Vivek? Are you writing down notes? Yeah. All right, come on. Yeah, come on, repeat it, Parvati.
Yeah, I think I need more time to think through.
Yeah, right. More time to think what?
To reconceptualize.
No. That's acceptable, but how much more time?
I don't know.
To reconceptualize what you said, how much more time is required?
I don't know. Now I have a block in my mind to be correct also.
Okay, you say once again.
The teacher monk and the head monk comes to a classroom filled
Yeah,
with
that's all.
papers.
Stop there. At least little bit of a good slice. Your slice is too big. Somebody cannot put it in the mouth, okay? That slice is too big. The teacher and the head monk comes to the classroom. Comes is one single word. They had to walk at least 100 steps. Okay, that is a different level of analysis which we will go. I will not leave you like this. Understand, this parable was given to the so-called thoroughly and terribly inspired disciples in the monasteries of Zen masters. What do you think this parable was given to them? To do what you do? This parable is a huge falling stone. Hundreds of laws of gravitational force of your understanding about the world and yourself is possible. Alright. That you can avoid because that is a different story. That's a different creative analytic exercise altogether. Okay? To see the unreported Vivek, much more critical part, we will come later.
No, I'm also trying to be within the boundaries of the FIR, not to go out of the report.
No, that is not true. That is, of course. We narrated a situation within the FIR only. But what I said is, the width of that slice was too much, which covered 2-3 situations. That's what I said. When we define as a situation, that precise thing happened in a given time. Time meaning the time of pulling the trigger. Even that can be a time. But most of the time we said here is little more larger. Like Sarah said, one child is sitting there and doing 9 once and then a 9. It would take at least 10 seconds. It is not a single shot. But okay, it is a situation. That is okay, perfectly okay. We don't have to say writing the first one, situation, writing the second one, the situation, writing the third one, a situation. Which were actually situations, Vivek.
Yes, that is my confusion also.
Come on,
All these
Vivek.
situations.
For a lawyer, every one of the 9 ones is a potential situation. Agreed? It depends upon the overall affair. Or that lawyer who looks at every one of the 9 months is the ultimate competence of the lawyer. Get the point, Vivek? Yeah. Now anyway we talked about that situation. Because in that time you cannot write 2 ones at a split second. Okay? 1 second for 1 second. That second is a second of the universe which cannot come back. For example, in a case, a certain witness standing someplace, standing in which direction? You can ask Vivek. It is not in the affair. Standing is there, but you have all the right to ask standing in which direction. When the crime was happening, he was looking at some other direction, by which you can identify asking him what was on the other side of the road. If he says that, then you can have other questions. Alright. Alright. The master monk and the teacher monk seeing the student lying down unconscious or a heap of papers. Okay, that's the situation. Alright, proceed.
And then in that same location, they decide to ask him to go from the monastery.
No, you have to reconceptualize it.
In the same setting.
No. The teacher and the head monk deciding to expel the student. Finished.
Yeah.
That's the situation. Because the turning point is there. Like Mandra Rishika said the last time, the turning point is, I don't remember what she said. So, that is a critical turning point in fact. That's a huge situation which changed the entire direction of the story or the life of that boy. Had they not seen that, for example, by the time the child got up and collected his papers and gone home, next day he is coming, perhaps the situation would be different. Then the situation is different. Get the point, Sarah? You know, for example, why the police people do, a lot of people criticize for a stupid act. What? Somebody jumped from top of a building and they take a what you call a dummy and they do that. And I have heard a lot of people telling what a nonsense it is. Some what you call a doll-like thing made in the form of that wood, throwing above the window, from top of the building. They are actually trying to recreate that situation. They may or may not get any clue, that's a different story. Get the point, Parvati? Yeah. In fact, in the lowest language, there is a term called the scene of occurrence. The scene, S-C-E-N-E. That also, another word for that scene is situation. That scene of occurrence is a critical part. Because there comes my point, location. Alright, come on. Now you go a little more deeply into situations can be there in the minds, okay? You have to always consider the external world and the internal world. Almost 99.9% of the population's children are never trained to look into the situations within them. First of all, and they were never directed to look at the situation within them. That is why the world is like this today. Everybody is directing the attention of the child to situations outside. Asif bought an handmade statue of the child. There are several situations going on through the minds and the thoughts and the feelings and emotions of the person. Am I right, Vivek? And that also you must master, because there is the clue for the motive of the crime. Am I right? Yes. Because you have all the evidences, all the proofs, all the details of the time, space, locations. Finished. The evidences are correct, okay? Now you have to prove the motive of the crime. And that is not outside, that is inside. Come on, we will go to the inside later, come on. Any more critical situations? Okay, the most critical situation, Sarah said. Splitting of the border. I think you will reflect upon this and try to identify situations. Why it is advantageous for you is that will enable you to ask proper questions. Get the point, Vivek? That's why you have to do the situational analysis. Or your own intellect and imagination will develop. If you take a small piece of a parable or a story or a news report and do an analysis of the situation in your journal, all these are exercises required for the development of intellect, which is never done in the universities and schools in the world. They were all to mug up what is written in the book. No teacher, no exercise, no examination asked. The questions which I ask you, or the thinking which you are doing right now. And those who are capable of that makes the difference in the world where they are in. Whether it is a government office, or a courtroom, or a teacher's room, or within the very mind. Every human being is basically a victim of the internal situations only. A guy just goes and rapes a girl because of the pressure of the internal situation, not because of the so-called sex or whatever female outside. In this case, a lot more people would have raped a lot more girls. Okay? Get the point, Vivek? Get the point with everybody? A murderer, a rapist, or an unethical businessman, or a corrupt politician, they are all victims of the situations in their minds. Even you are. Why you are doubtful? Why couldn't you guess? Because the situation of the so-called educated mind is doubting. Can I guess? If I guess, will it be correct? If I asked a group of classroom children, they would have made 100 guesses by this time. Because their mind is free from situational influences that they are carrying. No. What more? In the last session, Mandra Rishi has said, had the child not fell down on those papers and found unconscious on the paper, this parable would not have been having that critical turning point. Why? So now we are just quickly proceeding to analysis of situation. Identifying situations you are not doing, okay? Highly educated people. Vivek is not a BA, LLB, he is a LLM, master degree. Vivek. And MTech first rank holder. Sitting there. But of course you did. So I am telling. I am not blaming you. This is the fallacy of education. Fallacy of education. M.Tech first rank is not easy. Okay? Doing LLM is not easy. And you are not able to identify properly the so-called situations in a so-called story. It is not a story, okay, it's a parable. And you are all sitting there to analyze what? Luckily you don't have to do this level of analysis in your jobs. But Vivek has to. Because his success depends only on that. And to an extent, maybe of Ashwati, she is also an architect. Maybe, of course, important to Parvati also. What is your position now in the new company?
I had the compensation.
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 Compensation package for the entire staff. That means you have to reevaluate their performance standards, performance requirements and all that. Okay, oh, beautiful scope of analysis. Oh, it requires tremendous creative analysis power. Somebody can do without that also. But if you do that, the governing board or the board of directors or the person himself should be forced to accept it. Yeah, because they are fixing the compensation for the employees according to their performance. It is potentially very dangerous, inviting a lot of criticisms and comments and a lot of problems.
More sensitive part.
Yeah. I am sure you will do it very well, no doubt about that, but if you are much more competent, why not? Naveen has to only analyze documents, I suppose, government reports, customer applications from the citizens of Bihar and re-reporting it to the Chief Minister and things like that.
Yes, sir. Lot of that. Yes, sir.
There are also out of some 2,500 people in the Secretariat, he is the one selected, he is the one chosen. So you must be very good, extremely competent in that. Anyway, coming back to the point, yeah, what more critical situations you analyze? So we have to analyze. Now let us look at least this way. Like in an affair, what all situations you will choose right now. Every situation can be chosen, but what all so-called critical situations you consider? One critical situation already Mantra Rishika made in the last session. The master monks seeing the child lying down unconscious on a heap of papers. See? Okay, now I begin the question there. Why it is a critical situation? I say that what Mantra Rishika identified is definitely a critical situation. I don't say it is the only one critical situation, it is a critical situation. Why it is a critical situation?
That is the turning point of the story, in my perspective. Because otherwise the monk is not going to...
No. That is not the answer. That's of course an answer, sorry. But that is not a precise slice of an answer. Why it is a critical situation?
That is the reason only why the monk observed the child. What he...
Okay, go on analysis. Go on analysis. What in that is the critical situation? That is the question.
The child got expelled. They decided to expel him.
Okay, 1, 2.
That situation made clear how far the student will take the intensity of the problem.
Once again.
that situation made clear the intensity of the problem, or how far the student will go to what extent the student will go in writing one.
Okay, all right. Therefore, what is critical about it? Okay, it gives some kind of impression about to the extent to which the child may go on doing that. So what? Okay, good. Why it is critical? Okay, it gives a possible imagination of how far that child may go. All right, accepted.
Critical. It is critical because it also becomes clear that the problem cannot be solved.
Why?
Because it is evident that the child will not stop writing numbers as
What
one.
is the evidence there? What precise situation, what precise lies in the evidence, so-called evidence? Good point. Vivek, good point. What is the evidence?
Sir,
Heap of
trying to
papers.
elaborate.
Now, pardon me, Vivek, once again.
Sir, I think the evidence that shows that he was that writing one will not stop because it has affected it had affected him physically because he fainted because of that writing one. So it had a mental and a physical effect on him, and that the monk saw that, which made him different from others.
Yeah,
Like
that's
he was the only one who was kind of obsessed with one that affected him physically to the point that he fainted, and no other students had that effect.
Yeah,
Even though they went to the same-
that you don't have to say. That's a fact. But because we are looking at precision here, Vivek, okay? In the court you can say that. In the court you can say that. But here we want to be a little more precise. So that was an that was an evidence that the child will do anything to do whatever he did, right?
Heap of papers.
Yeah, all right. Okay. Therefore, so what?
That revealed his true nature.
Why should he be expelled? Let him do whatever, let him go on writing once forever. But why should he be expelled? Why the parents were summoned and the monk said, you better take this child home?
Because that revealed his true nature, and that indicated that he has already reached the Zen level of Tao.
That's a beautiful poetry. You talk the fact here.
Because it was not possible for the classroom to go further with this student.
Yeah. What is the problem? Why they made an apparent possible conclusion that the classroom cannot be conducted further if the child is there? Why? What is the problem? All right. In this case, we will not go to the deeper levels of situations. Already it is going to be level. All right, Vivek, would you like to add on something to what you said?
Sir, I think what Mr. Naveen meant is that since it had taken a physical toll on him, the other students will not be able to cope up with the level of intensity that he is going through. Because even if he's continuing there, he will continue to do the same without amending his ways.
Yeah,
So
all
that
right.
will put pressure on other students.
Excellent. All right. Something like that. But I appreciate that's only something like that. There is little more precision required, Vivek. So don't leave this parable. Keep it with you. All right. Yeah. Now, therefore, the child was sort of expelled. That situation can be looked at from a different angle. Oh, question is complex. Now, what Naveen did, Vivek, if you reconceptualize that situation, talk about something else. Follow the question? If you reconceptualize meaning almost remodel, like remodeling the car, like remodeling the house, remodeling an idea is called a reconceptualization. How will you reconceptualize the same situation? You have all the freedom.
It affected the ego of the monk.
Once again?
It affected the ego.
Oh?
He doesn't want his
No, wait. Ego, you say it affected the ego of whom?
monk.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah. Now, good. Though it is disputable, but I appreciate that angle. Okay. I told you we are here to experiment and exercise with our creative analytic thinking, okay, and reconceptualization and all that. I am not looking at whether what you said, the idea of that is right, correct or not. No. But is there a different angle? Is that angle apparently undebatable? But somebody can debate. Okay, but there's a new angle. Get the point, everybody? Ashwini? Get the point, Vivek? In a courtroom, you can bring in examples, metaphors, stories, myths, previous cases, whatever. You have to reconceptualize it. For example,
It's 23 hours.
one guy saying, one witness is very important, okay? Saying that, I was there in that spot when the crime was happening. A lot of people would ask why you are there and all that. But if you suspect that this witness is lying, you could ask another question to him. For example, where would you be if you were not there at that time? He will be puzzled. It's every day, 4 o'clock. Do you go there every day? Where were you yesterday at that time? Then he says, I was in the tea shop. Tea shop? Then why you were on that day at that place? I am just giving a sample, okay? Get the point. That kind of a question will come to your mind only when you reconceptualize. Somewhat like Sarah did now. Get the point, Parvati?
Yeah, so from the beginning of the parable, I had this one question. Why that teacher monk did not notice the child until he reached 9.
Beautiful. Okay, come on, let us take that question. Come on.
And
That,
another
wait. That's the situation which you should have identified first. That is, at least when the children were writing two, and when this child was writing once, he did not notice. See, such a, it's a situation. Then you ask the question, why? Alright, come on. Let us go to the why.
Because the student,
Wait. One more question. Where will that why, where will the answer of that why residing? No, unnecessary complication. Come on, go.
in the beginning when you describe the teacher.
No, once again.
The answer to that why lies in the beginning of the parable when the parable is reporting about the teacher, describing the teacher.
Now what was that? What was the critical point in the discussion which made you say this now?
In that it mentions that he likes to be loud.
Oh, good point.
And then
So,
that
wait,
means,
you're going towards a beautiful reconsideration. Come on, do it.
and when he is loved, meaning he is accepted also there. So what he does is accepted, and there is no deviation to the normal.
No, you have a great point, but you did not interpret it properly. Yeah, the monk wanted the children to love him. From there you proceed. Therefore, or so that, or because of that, that is the continuation. Yeah.
So because of that, he want to be nice to them.
Yeah, don't doubt. Okay. No, you make a proper sentence about that, Parvati. You know, in the
And
court.
I'm just thinking loud.
Yeah, do the thinking now. Do it.
Yeah. So now I'm surprised. How can a monk expect to be nice, loud?
And that you are going little overboard. That is not a part of the analysis. That's a different question. That's a different domain. How can a monk be like that? This monk is like that, that's all finished. But there is a clue in what you said, Parvati. You said the monk wanted the children to love him. What are you talking? You are answering to your own question, okay? Why the monk waited for Nan to intervene in the situation, alright? And you said the monk wanted the children to love him. There is a clue.
He
He
doesn't
did
want.
not want to point it out so that the child won't dislike him.
Yeah, say something like that, Parvati. It's so simple and obvious. Because it started only with one, we reached to two, immediately the monk is like most of the modern teachers. Child made a mistake, oh okay, come on, repeat, second mistake, and now the teacher is out of control. Okay? Because the modern teachers are not bothered about whether children love her or not. Because he is working for the salary. Okay, now. Any more critical situation? That is a slightly deviant point about one aspect which Parvati noticed from the very beginning. Now go on, unless what is another critical situation.
Sundarshi may analyze the same situation. In a
Yeah,
different
beautiful,
point
do
of
it.
view. Okay, I'm actually viewing the situation in different point of view.
Okay.
Which is that The student went unconscious after writing the nine. I mean that time, that circumstance. In that circumstances, the student went unconscious.
Yeah, okay.
Then only the monk actually found that he was repeatedly writing once. That is also a possibility. By seeing the heap of papers,
Yeah, yes, yes.
seeing it as an evidence.
No, no, he fell down unconscious not because he was repeatedly writing once. How? Why it is so difficult? I don't understand. So, Sarah, you are telling he fell down unconscious because he was repeatedly writing once and nine, okay? He fell down unconscious not because of that. Not because of writing so many lines. Because of what? Some very simple, silly answer. He got tired, Sarah. He did it till the limits, whereby he fell down unconscious. Of course, you are right. He was doing so many lines. But he fell down unconscious not because precisely what he said. Just because he overdid. That's why he fell down unconscious. That somebody can fall unconscious even if by writing a long love letter. Okay? A love letter that is running into thousands of pages, by the time he would fall unconscious, okay, not eating food, not drinking water, sitting at the same place. Okay, good. Now, so now the situations you not okay.
Sir, if I may,
Yeah,
the,
please.
the cutting of the boulder is also a critical point, because if the boulder would not have been cut, then the entire parable would have been left while the stone left.
Precisely.
So, because of the boulder being cut, that's also a critical part.
Don't say that is also. That was the most critical point by which the parable came into existence. The parable is all about that and that only. It is not also. And why it is so critical? Why it is the critical situation?
Because
Because of some simple reasons. Come on, Vivek. I said Vivek, but anyone of you can also answer, okay?
Because it's an unusual situation.
Yeah, say something like that. Everything. Yeah, it is not unusual, it is a ridiculously extraordinary situation. It's a mysterious magic. It's a miracle. That's the highest word we can choose now. It is a miracle. You see, if you look at the history of the world, all the critical turning points in the history of humanity, they are all based on miracles of coming out with the principles of gravitational forces, coming out with electricity, coming out with automobile engines, coming out with silicon chips. Oh, you don't look at it as miracles, okay. Critical turning points, critical points. And the so-called gods, so-called God, people are praying to the God to do a miracle. All about Jesus is, I would say the critical significance of Jesus is around his miracles. 5 breads made into 5,000, or walking on the surface of the ocean, healing people by his touch. Krishna killing the Rakshasas when he was a little baby. Little Krishna opening the mouth and the mother Yashoda seeing the daughter blah 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 in his mouth. Okay. All these are concocted. I am telling publicly, it is video recorded. All these are created myths, intelligently created, because then only the massive people will feel the wonder, the miracle about it, and assume that this is the son of God or daughter of God, and we are all stupid people who cannot even cut a piece of bread properly, and therefore let us get the blessing of this person. So stories about great lawyers in the country. When everybody did and all blah 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 blah, and finally Kapil Sibal or Ram Jethmalani and who else came and made one point and the case was lost. Okay? And the story goes on. What is all in newspaper reports? The newspaper is all set and it is about to be printed. Then there is a miraculous news. Miracle meaning equivalent to what you call sensational news. Okay? Some district collector was beaten by an ordinary girl. Okay, remove all those things, change the entire page, and there is put. Entire page is set and it's about to be printed. Even first edition is printed and distributed. Second edition is to be printed, and then the news. So one girl was raped by 9 people in Delhi. Finished. Put that details. Equivalent to miracle. Like if a miracle is attracting the attention of the ordinary people, such a huge event will attract the attention of the people, and 1 million more copies will be sold. Now, what you call the Indian satellite landing in the moon, celebrated by all India and commented by the entire world. Okay? And let us say after 5 years, every day 3-4 rockets are reaching moon. It will be only sometimes it may not be even reported. No, by this I am not underestimating this wonder, but that was used as a critical point in the entire parable. That entire parable was constructed for that situation or for that moment. Like an entire film spending such a lot of billions of dollars, I would say, is created only for the climax. And so we can see what you call James Bond, killing the ultimate criminal. Over. You enter the theatre, James Bond comes, kills the villain, film off. Then it is not there is nothing. So they build up, it is called build up. Build up a big scenario, and finally he was killed. Similarly, the parable began so beautifully with the background of the monk and the children and the writing of the ones, and finally, the monk, after 20 years, the student, same guy comes and doing this. If the parable was like this, for example, like Naveen reconceptualized, the elderly monk, after his evening cup of Shanoyu, walked towards the boulder, as usual. And then a man was there and he cut the border into two. You see? So miracle, it's of course a miracle in this case. Like Jesus could walk on the water, or he made 5 pieces of bread into 5,000. It is something like that. Like a little baby Krishna killed a huge demoness woman. If he killed a demoness woman at the age of 24, it would not be a miracle. Okay. Now a lot of stories about the prodigal children. A 6-year-old boy is able to understand all the ragas. Big news. There's a guy in Chennai, what is his name? Nagaswaram. What Nagaswaram?
Piano.
Yeah,
It's a Western first name.
it's Western first name. Have you heard of him? A boy from Chennai. He's doing magic and wonders on piano before the top audience in the world, in Chicago, Los Angeles and all that. Because he did it at the age of 6.
Lydian.
Yeah, Lydian, Lydian Nagaswaram. Now he must be maybe 12 or 13 years old. No. But people don't get any feeling of miracle about Beethoven's symphony or Mozart and all that. Because they did it at the age of 65, 72 and all that. Okay, now time is running out. What is the connection of this parable? I don't know whether all of you know equally the perspective of philosophy of Zen. Roughly it is about identifying or discerning or differentiating or feeling that operating original entity inside that fresh blood-born structure. Definitely some central agency is coordinating everything in that organic universe. And that is the central desire of every disciple who approaches a monk and a monastery. Why this parable? What is the critical turning point in this parable? Or what all critical situations in this parable are relevant for a person who is trying for discovering the operating principle inside him or her? This is the last question to be analyzed today, alright?
Sir, mostly if you look at this perspective, like when a disciple is like expelled from the monasteries, he will be deemed as what do you call it, as a he will be dead. So even after he was being expelled, he came back more knowledge than the people were there in the monastery, who were teaching more students, even after he had been expelled. He was giving more wisdom because of the crushing of the boulder. So that's why this parable is more important. That's what I could make out.
Yeah. Okay, any other response?
The
Any
boy
other?
was expelled. He was not given a reason, as reported in the parable. So that would have instilled a confusion in his mind, some kind of doubt. But at the end of the parable, the way he comes back to the monk and not even bowing and introducing himself first, it shows that he was still he had no doubt in his mind, and the incidents of expulsion did not create or change his nature or affect his confidence or his conviction to just do what he loves.
Okay. Any other analysis?
Sir, the